Box yourself.
Let's box it. That means let's just box. That means let's do it, but box it.
What brilliant timing that was.
I know, it was. You hit it. Here's the nail. Here's the hammer. Whack.
Coffin. Hit there. Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's what I feel. Guys, you missed it, but I aimed that hammer at in a very different direction of where that nail was.
Yes, it was very way out there.
Way out there. It was on his computer screen.
Yeah.
That's how much he fucked us. He fucked us.
Well, you said you wanted to get fucked.
All right, well, fair enough. Hey, guys.
Hi.
Welcome back to another wonderful edition of
Son of a Gamer.
And here we go again. We hope you enjoyed last week's game, which was...
yeah, that game.
Mm-hmm.
That one, that was really fun to play and stuff.
Injustice 2.
Yeah, that one.
We hope you enjoyed that one. That one was a lot of fun for us, and we really liked it.
Yes,
so
yes,
we hope that you guys jump in there and play it at some point.
Yeah.
This is another really fun game that we liked.
Yes, Lost in Random.
Yeah, it's a cool game. Who's the publisher here?
It's EA. It's the publisher, but
developer.
it's Zoink.
Who the fuck is Zoink? What kind
I
of name
have
is
no idea.
Thunderful? What the hell does that mean?
I don't
Guys,
know.
come on. I'm not going to remember that. I'm going to think about that and say, oh, is that like something I read while I was drunk?
Probably.
Like, honestly. All right,
Maybe they created it when they were drunk.
They could have. They honestly could have. Well, let's, I guess, jump into our first little segment here.
I guess Zoink is a Swedish game developer company.
Oh, okay. Well, they do a good job making games.
Yeah. But yeah.
I heard they made the Zoink series.
I'm looking through their list. It doesn't seem like they made an Adventure Time game.
Well, that's sad.
And the PlayStation All-Stars game, which that sucked.
Well, so it sounds like they're not doing a very good job.
It sounds like this is their most successal thing so far.
This is the only thing that's hit the
wall.
Oh,
and Faye. Faye is also a Game Pass game.
Okay, well, check it out sometime. Yeah. Well, let's start. Go!
Woohoo!
What's on the box?
Surprise! There is no box.
Yay!
There's no box, so instead we are going to read the Steam
synopsis thing. Yeah. Play the odds in Lost in Random, a gothic fairy tale inspired action adventure where every citizen's fate is determined by a roll of the dice.
Kind of.
I mean, it is.
Yeah, it felt like they kept saying that. Like, she gave us all 2 personalities. I'm like, when did she have time to do this?
When they rolled a 2.
But well, that was the weird part too. So everyone rolled a dice.
Yes.
But when the kids roll a dice, they get captured.
So it seemed like...
It's very confusing because like at some point you have to say, is every kid rolling a 6? What's going on here?
No, I wouldn't say that because there still were kids in the other towns too.
But they could have been under 12.
They could have been under 12.
So it just begged the question, like, why? Wouldn't you just do every 4th kid or something to make it not seem, like, inconspicuous?
Well, I mean, that might be what she's doing.
I hope that's what she did. But it doesn't seem like that because
it doesn't never say that.
Your sister goes, Lucky goes, those 2 kids you met go.
Yeah.
That's 100% of the kids who rolled that dice in your time made a 6. So yeah, that's pretty high.
You're not wrong.
Also, all the kids seem to be human, but not everything is human.
Yeah, that was a little weird.
Yeah, I was like, why do none of the animals fuck? What's going on here?
Well, that kind of just goes with more of the style, like the Tim Burton style, where like everything can be anything. Creatures can be people, like it's just...
true. I don't know,
I don't know. It was definitely weird because that was something they never brought up either. It's like everything's human, but then there's robots, but then there's also like these 3-eyed cyclops creatures.
Yeah, the anamorphic or whatever.
Yeah.
Anamorphic? No, anamorphic. I think that's the right word.
Something like that.
The box art would have been really cool on this. I love the fucking art. It looks really sweet.
The art for this game is just beautiful.
Yeah. This whole picture here is just a wonder. Guys, it's like the bad guy in the background just like playing with a dice while the girl in the foreground is just like fighting for her life against all these enemies.
And I love that the queen showing the die it's on the 6 side on the box too.
It is.
Like that's very important in the game.
Yeah. What's funny too is in one level, we'll talk about this a little bit more maybe, but this is just something I saw. The throne is huge.
Mm-hmm.
And she is not that big.
No.
Not as big as the throne. I'm like, why is the throne so fucking big? Look at her. She's like maybe 6'10", but damn, that throne was meant for someone who's 8 feet tall.
I mean, it could have been meant for the living embodiment of the dark spirit things.
It could be, but I was just like, man, this throne seems like overkill, guys.
You're really going overkill. Yeah.
You're going for that iron bullshit that Game of Thrones did. Yeah.
Never even watched that.
It's not that good, probably.
I watched the first 2 episodes and I was like, man.
I watched the first season. I got through the whole series. I liked it. It wasn't bad. It just didn't catch my eye as much as it did other people.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like, I could see like the production values and stuff for it is beautiful.
The acting was great.
I just
love the acting.
Everyone's like, but you love Lord of the Rings. It's just Lord of the Rings with boobs. And I'm like, the Lord of the Rings didn't need boobs.
You know, not everything needs boobs.
No.
And I know that might be contradictory.
Yes, because we do like lots of boobs.
But at the same time, I don't know.
They have to be in the right state.
Let's talk about this for just a second. Just a second, though.
Okay.
So when I see ads now on any social media thing, it's always like a woman in like a skimpy outfit.
Yeah.
And they're using what they have, which I want them to do to become like a successful business person.
Mm-hmm.
So they're using like their body to attract you in.
Yeah.
And then it's nothing about them. It's like, I'm selling this pen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's really an interesting way to do this because a lot of women want equal respect from men, but you also want to use your body to harness better values for yourself. Which makes sense. That makes sense more to me. And also the equal rights makes more sense, but they're kind of contradictory for each other.
Yeah.
So I'm just always like, okay, so you're abusing what you have, even though you don't want men to abuse what you have. Like, I don't quite understand that. Because men don't really do that. I guess they do, kind of. You see the ads with like the shirtless guys with 6-packs.
But there is a little bit more scrutiny towards that and everything. Like, I mean, like how much even like Adam Levine got hated for taking off his shirt at the Super Bowl.
Oh, did he?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Was he?
Yeah.
He wasn't on.
He was performing at the Super Bowl a few years back.
Oh, a few years back. I thought you meant this last year.
No,
I don't think he was here this last year.
No, it was a
that
few
was
years
just
back.
Rihanna. Rihanna really stole the show.
She did. She was awesome. That
All
was a
right,
great
well.
performance.
Oh yeah, that's Adam Levine. I'm thinking of Adam Lambert for some reason.
Oh,
Instantly.
from Queen? Yeah.
But yeah, Adam Levine. Yeah, I can remember that when he had all the tattoos. I think they were just
Mhm.
making fun of all the tattoos he had.
No, I think it was just because it was really cringe the way he did it and stuff like that. And
Yeah, I guess.
doing it in-
I wouldn't say it's any worse than what Rihanna did on that stage while pregnant. So great. I was watching it with Jody and she's like, man, she really loves her cooch, doesn't she? And I was like, yeah.
She was telling the story of her entire love life.
And that's funny. I understand, but also the funny part of her just like sitting there rubbing her vagina and then going and sniffing it. And you're like, okay, that's weird, but okay, go for it. It was just funny.
I mean, she did more than most pregnant women will ever do. And she
yes.
really showed that pregnant women can still do things.
I don't think that was ever a question whether they could do things or not.
Well, I mean, even Garfunkel, I know it's one of my favorite musical comedians. They have an entire song called Pregnant Women Are Smug. And it is so funny.
Yeah.
Because it is so true.
Well, and yes, pregnant women shouldn't do certain things because your baby's life is at risk and your own health.
Yes.
Stuff.
But there is a lot of like smugness to parenting in general.
Yeah, true. All right, well, let's move on. We got on a tangent there. That's okay, though. The
important thing is we like boobs, but in the right scenarios.
Yeah.
Yeah. Boobs.
Not marketing. Bullshit. Let's get on to the next segment.
Are we jamming?
This game really killed it with voice acting, honestly.
I really did love the voice acting
fucking
on this.
Phenomenal. So much better than... we were talking about Ant-Man a couple weeks ago, guys, and we were just shitting on this one lady who...
Michelle Pfeiffer.
She acted like shit. Like, it was so fucking bad.
Yeah. That was so weird. Like, we just really hate when we really notice, like, different caliber. Like, playing more and more games that we've been playing lately, we really notice, like, how some games just have like, such high caliber of voice acting, like The Last of Us.
Even if it's people we don't know who just do a fucking knockout job. Like, how do you audition for something, sound like shit, and they're like, well, you only cost $10, so let's get you in here.
Well, that's probably exactly it.
Like, it just ruins the game for me.
Well, and it's, I don't know, like, for some reason, the director or whatever thought that would be perfect for them, and that's perfect in their eyes, but in our eyes, it just didn't make any sense.
Yeah, it just didn't translate well. Or maybe they took the bad takes. Maybe they did a great job and just got bad takes.
Think of a single character I didn't like in this game.
Honestly, all of them were perfect. Yeah. I love the effects on them. Shadow Man was really cool.
Yeah.
Queen's voice was great. Your main voice was really good.
Yeah.
Although it didn't make a lot of sense. Again, this is nitpicky right here, but your dialect is one way, and then your sister's dialect is a different way, but you're sisters from the same spot.
Yeah, but
it's just funny. It's
most of the time you hear the sister talk, she was taken by the queen. So,
even before that.
I mean,
you just have the different way they talk from England. Like one of them has a really thick accent, the other one has a very mild accent. You're like, you think you sound exactly the same, honestly.
Sometimes I would say that they don't always.
Yeah. But I mean, that's just a voice acting. You're not going to get sisters to play the fucking roles. They're just going to pull who's ever best.
One of the things I was trying to look up is the narrator in this game sounded a lot like the narrator from the Stanley Parable game.
Yeah, it does. It does.
So much so. And it was that funny a lot of times, too. Like, he stole the show in a lot of things, and I was just like, this is just so great. I love
is it the same narrator?
I'm looking right now.
Oh.
The other thing I loved is I love Dicey even. Like, all the different, like... he just does a lot of like things like that. But the greatest thing about it is the way they made you be able to understand Dicey is by her like repeating kind of what he said.
Which was funny. I just don't understand how she understood Dicey, but I'm assuming they had like a mental connection.
Yeah.
But then other people understood Dicey too.
I don't know.
The threyed guy.
Oh, that's true.
He understood Dicey. There were a couple of others.
So the narrator.
I think the mayor understood Dicey too. Like it's just it was so weird, but I'm assuming they met Dice before, and that's why.
All right.
Anything?
So his name is Ty Zonzak. Let's see what.
If I were him, I would maybe change my name a little bit. Maybe just go with Stanley.
Yeah.
Maybe do that. Some of my favorite voice lines in this game. I don't know if you did this. I was perusing through the achievements before I played.
Yeah.
And then I kind of forgot about them. And then 2, I'm like, okay, what achievements can I do here? And one of them was roll the dice to get into 3-Town before you have the pips for it.
Yes.
So I roll it, and he's like, you roll the dice, and you realize that you don't have enough pips to open the door. And then you roll it again. He's like, you roll the dice once more, still without the necessary pips to open the door. And you can do that 5 times.
Oh,
and finally he's like, oh, sorry. He says like, you don't bother rolling the dice because you don't have enough pips 4 times.
Yeah.
He's like, go ahead, roll the dice. Let's see what happens. Let's see if the rules of random really apply. And then you roll it and you get like a 1. And he's like, oh, you didn't get it. You don't have the pips because you don't have the pips. You didn't get the number you needed. And you can do that in the first town too. If you go back to your house after you leave, you can go to the front door and just knock on the door.
Yeah.
And each time you knock, he's like, and you tried to knock, but realized it would wake up your parents, so you didn't do it. You do it again. All right, well, you didn't knock because you knew it would wake up your parents. Like, those are some of my favorite lines. They're just fun.
Yeah.
You're just sitting there like fucking with the narrator. And by the way, you had to do each one 5 times to get the fucking achievements.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't get those achievements because I was too far past them before I looked. But yeah, like there's so many other lines like that with the narrator. Like I love the different times where he just like randomly like will like pause something, or he'll just be like, and there was an awkward silence, so I decided just to fill it up.
Yeah. The narrator did a great job.
And it is not the Stanley Parable guy, but I mean, like it's almost identical.
I think that's just a general sound for a narration, right? That's just how they want you to sound.
I mean, possibly, but
a little
I mean,
monotone, but like with that inflection on your voice that throws people into an interesting mood.
It just seemed like he was almost like that's what he got his inspiration from.
I would say they probably all got their inspiration from the guy from the Planet Earth.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, because he does a really good job of narrating. So,
but yeah, voice acting, like we said,
killed
just
it.
phenomenal everywhere. Music's
It's normal. I mean, it's perfect. It's perfect the way it is. I couldn't think of a moment where see, my thing is always like either the music's really good when I can hear it and I'm like, holy shit, this music's amazing. Or if the music is really bad when I'm like, oh my God, this is the worst thing ever. Please turn it the fuck off.
Yeah.
Like, but if I don't notice it, I just assume it's good.
Yeah.
I honestly assume it's great.
That's honestly a lot of the way it is.
Yeah. Because then you're like, it fits the mood perfectly and you're not noticing it, which is exactly what music should be.
And I love the sound effects of a lot of the different abilities and stuff like that, especially like the Rule Master bow.
Yeah. I wish that they would have put its own personal song in there, like Night Trap. But of course, you're not going to get a Night Trap-esque song in this game.
You want a Night Trap in every game.
I do want a Night Trap. Even if they just took Night Trap and started playing that in the game, I'd be happy.
If I ever create a game one day, I'm going to have Night Trap be a hidden song.
What was the game from? I always forget the name of the song from the other one. Double something.
Yeah.
Was it
Double
Double
Switch?
Switch?
Of it last time. It was Double Switch is the name of the game.
Yeah, but was Double Switch also the song?
It was like something Egyptian or something.
Yeah, no, it was Eyes. It was Double something, Double Vision or something of that nature.
Let's see. Double Switch song. Tunnel Vision.
Tunnel Vision. Something Vision. Yeah. I loved it. I love the fucking write your own fucking song for a game. It's so fun.
Oh, it's the greatest thing ever.
All right, well, that's voice acting and shit. Let's move on.
Yeah.
How does it play?
This game is like really interesting in how it
Yeah.
plays. I told you last time, this game is really reminiscent of Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories.
Yeah.
It's another game where basically same premise. You have a free movement kind of deal, third person movement. You still can attack, but you have to use cards to amplify your attacks.
Yeah.
Otherwise, your attacks are really dick.
Yeah. Your attacks, you just have a slingshot if you don't have any of the cards active.
Yeah.
And your slingshot can only break crystals.
Crystals
that
give you
appear
energy to draw cards and roll dice.
Yes. And depending on the number that you roll on the dice, that depends on the number of points you can use in the card system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I didn't like about this is there's only 34 cards.
Yeah.
I know there's multiples of each, and so you can fill your deck with like 5 of the same card or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I really was hoping for more variety.
I was hoping for a little bit more too.
Yeah.
And I definitely feel like a bigger deck would be nice too sometimes.
Honestly, 15 cards is perfect because if you play the cards right, it could really amplify a deck. But 34 cards is not enough to make a cool, unique deck. You're just basically making what everyone else will make, right?
Yeah.
So I bet if I looked it up online, I'd find my deck that I use as the number one deck because it seemed like it was the most powerful.
I mean, yeah, I felt like I did a pretty decent deck, and I switched it out a couple of different times for different scenarios because I had my deck for board game scenarios, and then I had my deck
I didn't even change it for board game. I didn't even use those cards. I only used them to get the achievement to draw 8 cards in the same game.
Yeah, I didn't even get that achievement. I think I got only 7 cards was the most I was able to get.
Yeah.
But I didn't have a lot of the 0 cost cards. So.
Yeah. This is what Kingdom Hearts did really well in their game. They changed combos.
Okay.
So if you use 5 of a certain card, like 5 different cards that all fit together, you do a combo move that have nothing to do with the cards, but you get like a combo cool little thing where that can't be dodged.
Okay.
So you get like 10 hits free, which can really help you in big boss battles.
Yeah.
I thought this game was really lacking in that. If they would have added something like that where you combine these 3 cards, you get the cool thing that you get to do.
I think that
would have probably helped with the 34 card limit.
I think they would have broken the balance, honestly.
Maybe, but
especially with such small decks.
Not
because,
like an insane thing, but maybe just a little helpful.
Well, because then you would only be searching for 1 mega combo every time, and every time you didn't draw that.
Well, there would be multiple combos.
Yeah, I know, but there would be
idea.
one that would be ruling of all. Like,
I
most
guess.
of these games aren't the greatest.
Don't make them that powerful. Just make them there. Just make them an option.
There were certain cards even in this that were way overpowered. Like, I think the Rule Master bow by far is the best card in the game.
It's good, but it's not good for taking out the flying people. It's kind of hard for that.
It's harder to hit,
yeah,
but I mean, it's still really great at taking them out.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think there's better. Again, like the cards were okay as they are, but you could pretty much use the shit cards and still do okay in the game.
Because it was funny too, because like my card system actually switched throughout the entire game. Because at first I really liked the hammer.
Yeah.
And then I went to the lance, and the lance became my main melee weapon.
Yeah.
And my only melee weapon. Actually.
The lance has the best charge up, I think. The hammer has the second best charge up for sure.
The only thing I liked about the hammer, the charge up was okay, but I really just loved that it would stun and knock people down.
Yeah.
The one thing I loved about the lance is how fast it was, and on a
Its
lot of the
charging
different.
was so cool.
It was cool, but on the if you're just doing the basic attack over and over again, like there's a lot of enemies, especially like the shooting enemies, that you can just keep comboing until they're dead. Like it's just insane.
Yeah. I don't know. I would have liked a little bit more with this game, like they did in Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
Like just give it a little bit more roles in the battle.
Well, and it takes a little bit of time to actually get into the combat. I mean, you start out with that little tutorial combat, which I didn't realize at first. You're playing as the queen at the beginning.
You didn't realize that right
No.
away? That was literally what I thought of the first. I saw it, I'm like, oh, she's got the same mask as the person that's the cover. I think that's the bad guy.
I didn't even honestly. Well, in my eyes, like I didn't like even like think about like the mask or anything. Like I just thought like, oh, lots of people in this world probably wear masks.
Yeah.
And so like
and then you go around, you're like, oh, I didn't meet anyone else wearing a mask. So I guess that must have been the queen.
You know, I didn't. Okay.
You know what I'm confused about, and I guess we should talk about this in the story, but let me mention it really fast. Did the sister not have dice?
Which sister?
The queen sister.
I think the dice that she ended up using at the end was her sister's dice.
No, she didn't have dice. I don't know if you noticed that when they were fighting, she didn't roll the dice.
Wait, which sister are you talking about?
The
queen or
the queen sister? That was her dice. That was the queen's dice. Remember, she rolled the only dice in the entire game, or in that part of the game. I was like, so does she not have a dice? What is going? Why is she in this battle if she doesn't have a fucking dice?
Maybe she didn't at that moment.
And like, why the hell would you put her in the battle? There's no defense.
Maybe they were
for that.
trying to find the valley.
Maybe,
Dice.
and that could have been it. But I was just like, man. And also, that first part's a little confusing to me because the robots are there,
Yeah.
but the queen made the robots.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so did she get the idea to make the robots from these robots, or where did these
Probably.
fucking come from? Like, I was just so confused.
Because I mean, there was even similar robots in the Valley of the Dice. So maybe when she got her die,
True, and why would they be there? Because she had no idea where it was.
she must have though, because she had a multiple.
No, remember, she kept asking throughout the game, like, where's the valley?
Yeah.
Have you been there? So I
But
wonder
how
if the
did
robots were
her
the...
die then get to her.
Oh, her die was broken. It was in
Well,
pieces underneath the battlefield. I think that's where they fought.
But
Where
I'm
the
saying,
castle
like,
is.
how would she get a die if she didn't go to the Valley?
So
of
I
the
think
Dice?
you have to be chosen to go, and then you can't go again.
Maybe.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Or like you can go again as long as you're cool. They're like, you're a fucking dick,
Or
bro.
if you've already gotten your dice, you can't go back,
Maybe.
and she can't find it again.
And I'm
because
confused
she's
too
already
because
gone
her
back.
dice is also broken and she brings it back to life. I'm like, how'd you do that? We weren't able to see that the entire game. How the fuck did you just
Well,
do
that's
that?
why I didn't think that was her dice. I thought her dice became the dark die.
No, it seemed like the dark die was gifted by the things. I don't know. It was confusing.
For me, that my theory was that the dark beings turned her die into the dark die, and that
she used her
broken die
sister's?
was her sister's.
I don't know.
die.
I didn't see a sister's die when she was fighting. Like even when she was fighting those three things, she didn't kill them. She just ran away from them. She never even fought them.
Yeah, that doesn't mean the dice wasn't with her.
The dice is always with you. It's always walking around.
Well, what if it just wasn't with her for some reason?
That's what interesting.
What if it was captured? What if someone killed it?
I think
like
we
we
would've
found out that the dice can die.
but
separately.
I think we would have seen that. I think she didn't have a die.
Because
I really think
that
that's
one guy in Forberg or whatever, he had the die that had died.
Yeah.
And he was still alive.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that she dies. I'm just saying that.
I'm saying that the dice could
I
have
think
died before that
everyone
fight.
had a die probably.
And maybe that's why they wanted to go back to the Dice Valley, because they wanted to get another die for the sister.
Maybe. Or I don't know. I think that because the die is so different, the dark die. I thought the same thing. I'm like, so what? Why is her die black and everyone else's die is white? But it seemed like that die was gifted by those things because the other die are made by the frog
Well,
lady.
and she didn't say that she...
Oh, and she said old friend. Remember when she made the thing back? She said, me and my old friend will fight it.
Yes, but an old friend could be a friend of a friend,
Yeah,
too.
sure. But Steven, I think you're reading really far past what they're presenting to us, and I think I'm reading what they're presenting to us.
I don't think I'm reading that far past
I
it.
think you are. But my point is that I think that was her dice, and I think they gifted her the black dice, and I think the sister didn't have dice, and that's why she died.
My point with...
Because no one else died from dice battles.
My point with her dark dice being the dark dice was because they gave her the power to control the dice, and that turned it dark.
I don't know. I don't think that's it. I think they just gave her a separate dice.
Because then the dice had no it wasn't a being anymore. The dark dye was just a dye. It wasn't a
See,
being
and now
like
you're
the
just
other
reading.
one.
You don't think you're reading so far past it? When did they present any of this knowledge?
Did you ever see her dye have legs and walking around and
Yes,
talking?
when she picked it up, when she put it back together.
The black dye. I'm talking about the dark
No, because
dye.
it was gifted by those guys.
I don't...
Whereas the girl, the frog lady, gave them all sentience.
Yes, Uma.
Yes, her dice have sentience. This die doesn't.
I just don't know. We don't know. It doesn't. It doesn't.
It doesn't
answer the
explicitly
questions.
say, but what they present is basically saying that that's a separate die.
You guys can. Vote on whether
I thought that it was
which
weird.
theory you like better.
I thought it was weird that they brought the sister in there because also they're the same age. Remember?
Yeah.
Like, so she's the older sister, she's the younger sister. So the younger, so maybe everyone got their dice at 12, like when
Yeah.
they roll the dice at 12, and maybe she was too young to get it. Why the fuck would you bring her into battle? Like, no wonder she died. Of course she's gonna die if she doesn't have a fucking dice.
Who knows
Whether she
why
lost
they
her
were
dice
there?
or not, she doesn't have a dice in the fucking battle.
Well, here's my point. You're telling me I'm reading too far into things. You're trying to create a scenario where she convinced her sister to come with her to this battle.
I'm guessing, well, because right before, if you read the stories, the journal, whatever,
Yeah.
they say like, and the battles got really dark and it was really hard.
Yeah.
And they got darker and darker. And I'm like,
Well,
so
and that
we're
was
like,
over the entire world, so it could have just been. They just could have been in the middle of a battle. Like if
True.
you were in the middle of Sokovia during
had to be.
Avengers: Age of Ultron, like you're not gonna be like, "Oh, this happened because of this." No, it was just you just happened to be in a bad place at the bad time.
maybe. It seemed like they were in the castle because that's where she froze time. That's also where the dice was broken.
Well,
It
yeah,
was interesting. All of that's interesting.
it's all interesting.
I don't
I'm really
understand.
wanting to know more of the
Yeah, I
actual
think they'll make
lore
a
and
sequel.
story.
I think
Like,
they'll make a sequel.
I hope they do.
I don't know why the fuck they didn't show the Queen's fight, but we'll get into all that in the story. Let's talk about more. How does it play? Movement's great, by the
Yes.
way. I didn't even notice I had a sprint button.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
for a
because the
while.
movement was so good, you're like, oh my, I don't need a sprint button. This is really good.
Sprint mode's nice once you like get the lay of the map and you need to go back
Yeah.
and forth to certain spots.
But
So,
even still, you don't really need
No,
it.
you
You're still
don't.
fucking fast.
yeah, it's
Um,
actually surprising good like pace.
Getting cards is a little annoying in this. You have
Yeah.
to buy them basically all from one guy.
or earning them.
Okay, but you can't earn all of them is the big problem. You can earn, and you go,
earn
the ones you earn are also in the shop, so there's no even
Yeah.
point in earning them. You might as well just buy them all.
Hmm.
But getting money is kind of a hard thing to do.
Well, and you almost get enough money. Like you probably do get enough money if you find most of the pots
Yeah, I
to
mean,
buy every
I bought all
single
the cards.
thing.
I got the achievement or whatever.
See,
I was so pissed
I
at
think
the
I was
end.
missing 3 cards that I
Dude.
didn't buy.
I needed one card and I needed 10.
Oh.
Right, I'm in the last spot. I think I can buy cards, but then there's a further spot later
okay.
on, but there were no more pot things. I
Yeah.
think once you find all the cards, this pot stops spawning.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, because I never
there
saw
was a
any
section
more.
that they just didn't have any pots in.
Oh, this is
the end.
towards the end. So there's 2 pots,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, oh, I need 10, and there's only 1 pot here. I'll get that pot, and it's only worth 5. I'm like,
Oh.
what? Every other fucking pot has been worth 10. Why the fuck is this one 5? And I'm like looking around trying to find another pot. Can't find it. I'm like, looks like I'm fucking moving on. I only need 5, but whatever. And then right as I get to the top, there's another pot and it's also worth 5. I'm like, thank you. Because I thought that was the last time I would see
yeah.
the guy. It was on that spiral staircase.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I bought the last card. I was like, thank you.
Did
I
you
don't-
see him one last time before you fight
Yeah,
the-
you see him when you're in the weird dark world.
Yeah.
Which is also weird. How the fuck does he get to these places? He's like the fourth wall breaking guy, I think.
I don't know, man.
He must be. He's got to be a fourth wall
Well, and
breaker.
it was almost
Him
like
and narrator.
he was very reminiscent to me of the like shopkeepers in the Resident Evil games, and a lot of them because
Yeah.
there's always that guy that actually is like I think it's in Resident Evil 4 that or something that the shopkeeper is actually like part of like the shop, like
Yeah.
it's like
What you buying?
yeah.
What you selling?
And even in Resident Evil, I think Village, they did something like that too, where the guy was like part of the merchant cart.
Interesting.
And so I was like, "Are you guys kind of like ripping off?" Like
They
a
might
lot
be.
of a lot of this game felt like a lot of things ripped off from other things. like,
Yeah,
put
I mean, and
together.
that's great. I mean, they
Yeah,
did
I
a
mean,
good job
It
putting
was
together.
amazing, yeah, because this felt like a really much like I kind of Scott this preview of Alice Madness Returns, which was another game that came out like 10 years before this one that has that same Tim Burton style.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, it's very
mean,
like,
and
the style of this, and it looks almost exactly similar to it, and it could be in the same world, but then it's got
the art is really reminiscent of The Walking Dead and Borderlands, so they definitely took that. I mean, I don't know. I think Borderlands was the first one to do that art style, but they could have been another game, to be honest. Clearly, Chain of Memories did the whole card thing, and they really just ripped Chain of Memories off with the card thing. But I mean, the combat in here was perfect.
Oh,
the way they laid out combat was really cool.
And like the dice dimension thing that you're in, once you roll the dice, so you can like maneuver and strategize and set up your movements.
So you get to freeze time whenever you roll dice, which is really cool.
The one thing I hated with that was when you're fighting the Queen's Shadow.
Yeah, so she gets to move a little bit.
She gets to move during that time, and I didn't realize that at first.
I know, until she hits you, and you're like, God damn it.
You made me waste my dice.
But I mean, and that was fine. After the first time, you're like, okay, so I just got to keep moving.
Yep.
The only problem is you have to fucking stop when you're rolling, when
and
you're
certain
picking a
card
card.
animations take a while, or certain ones, like when you place a bomb, you switch automatically to dicey moving the bomb, so you have to move that really quickly and then go back to yourself.
Did you get the achievements for doing the killing 3 enemies with 1 bomb and then killing 3 enemies with dice splice?
I know I got the bomb. I might have got the splice one. That one, I
dice splice is really annoying. It's not a good.
It's a great card if it did more damage.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I found out ways to use it really well later on in the game. Where I found out you could just like basically hold dicey in one position, and then I was just like running. Yeah.
You didn't know you could do that?
Well, I know I could send him out, but a lot of times he would send him out and come back, but I didn't know you could just hold him in that position.
Yes.
Well, because
you're killing me, Steven.
The first time you told me about the dice splice, you talked about how hard it was because he would like do the dice splice, but then he would come back to you. So I thought like
only when you have full hand.
Yes.
Remember when I said that? Like when you have a full hand, he automatically comes back to you.
I didn't catch that part of what you said.
That was the most annoying
shit. I couldn't do that, so I didn't even try for the longest time.
Yeah, the key is like only when you have a full hand, he automatically comes back to you, which is really fucking annoying. So that to get away from that, you just don't kill anything with anyone.
Yeah.
If you have dice place, you put time thing down and you use dice place and you just sit there and let him dice die.
Yeah.
But dice die.
Dice die.
So combat's really cool, movement's really good.
I guess what was your favorite cards?
I used the general Rule Master's bow. I took the sword out eventually. That was just fucking worthless. Sword out too. The regular bow I kept in for a little while just to kill flying guys, because flying guys were so fucking annoying. It's just impossible. You have nothing that really reaches them unless you hit a third hit on something.
Yeah, I mean the hammer could reach them.
Kind of. Like half the time I'd miss, I'm like, I'm right next to them. How am I missing this?
I didn't do too bad with the hammer with them. And then the Rule Master bow, it was harder to get that aim, but once I figured out how to aim against them, it was pretty nice. And then also just like I would wait till they would go by taller targets and then just hit the taller target on the shoulder and it would splash damage them.
I usually hit them with the time thing just so I could stop them, slow them down, and then hit them easy.
See, I didn't use the time thing very much.
That was the best thing. I loved using that. It worked on bosses.
Oh.
Yeah, it was great. It was the perfect thing to use. I fucked things up so easy with that. That and the bringing things together. I
never used that one either.
Bringing things together, Rule Master bow, time thing on top of that. You save those 2 cards until you get the bow, and then you just... what I did was wait till I had 2, so I had 20 shots in it, and I would just fucking lob it.
And I did love getting the golden pins to save your cards for the next hand and stuff like that.
I kind of wish there was something cooler when you bought all the cards. You didn't get anything when you bought all the cards.
Yeah.
That was really lame.
Yeah.
I was hoping for something cool.
And when they were making that dream card of hers...
Are you hoping it would do fucking something? Yes.
I was hoping it would be something really awesome that you would have to use against the queen.
Yeah.
I know that's something we always talk about.
I knew it was a fucking portal. Like as soon as I said it, I'm like, it looks like a portal, but I hope it does something extra.
That's what I was hoping too.
Just like something small. Give me like a machine gun or something. Something tiny, maybe a nuke.
Yeah, you know.
It would just be cool if it did something else.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Especially with how much work you put into making it.
Well, especially because like the entire time you're trying to get it made, you're even saying that like, can you make it so it's like super powerful? Yeah. Can you make it so I'm like invincible or invisible or do this? And like you have all these like different options of all the different things you can say, but then none of those things you can even add.
Yeah.
And I almost wish that it had like the inscription kind of thing where you make your own card.
Yeah.
Like that would have been a
That
cool
would have been
concept.
cool. I would have been fine if it did something extra, but I get the dream part of it because your dream is to rescue your sister.
Yeah.
And I guess you want to get to 6, but also they make it sound like it's impossible to get to 6.
Yeah.
But clearly they walk there with those machines, so it's not impossible.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
it must be surrounded by something that you can't pass
yeah.
unless you have like the walking machine guy. I
Probably.
got a little confused with all that.
Yeah, that was a little weird, but
It was interesting at the
but
very
yeah,
least.
I think gameplay wise though, like
Perfect. I
and
loved it.
I love the puzzles
Yeah.
in this game.
They're easy, simple.
The board game mode battles were
such
so
a
cool.
very super interesting thing. So there, guys, they have 2 modes of combat: regular combat where you just kill things, and as soon as you kill the last thing, it's done, and then board game combat where you have to move a piece to a specified location, and sometimes they have special rules around that.
Yeah.
So like to get past a certain thing, you might have to kill all the enemies in an area. To do something else, you might have to roll a certain number or play a certain card.
Yeah.
Like it was just interesting.
One of my favorite board game battles was the one where the turret in the middle, and it's the triangle board game.
Yeah.
And you
had
have to land
it.
on
that
the
one was
corner
so
edges.
annoying. Trying
Well,
to get it to land on the corner edges.
That's
all
when
the
it was
time.
really awesome to have those cards
Yeah.
to move it one extra space, because then you could make sure it landed wherever
Yeah,
you wanted,
true.
no matter what dice roll you had.
True. They were just a little useful. The draw the card thing was the most useful part of them. But
Mhm.
but I mean, what like draw a card, give up a card to draw a card. So it's basically the same as not having that card in there, right?
I mean, sometimes, but like, I mean, if you had just like, even a lot of, I had like the cards that gave you more points,
Yeah.
and stuff in there too. Obviously, like, especially the double points,
Yeah.
for
I
zero.
mean, I never had any problems with that. I always drew one of those pretty much.
Yeah,
I mean, and then if I didn't, I'd save certain cards that I wanted to do on the next one.
but I mean, sometimes it was nice to, and I think I always had at least one of those cards in my deck just because I liked having that
Did you
extra
put
draw.
Did you put the guy in your deck that breaks all the crystals?
Yes,
That's a perfect
I
card.
love
That's
that
cool
card.
too. It's got a knockback effect too.
Mhm.
Like honestly, that's one of the best cards in the game.
yeah, I love that one.
Yeah.
I didn't use that one for a while, but when I started using it, I
You're
was
like, oh my
this
god, this is amazing. Like, I never have an empty hand.
Yeah, the deployable pet ones I wish were a little stronger.
Well, the one that I used was actually pretty good. It would knock back. It's really slow.
It was that ghost thing
Yeah.
that like
Not the
traveled really
ghost
slow.
one.
Or was it the hand?
Not the
hand
hand.
knocked him back too.
Maybe it was
There
the
was-
ghost one.
There was also the D20 that would like bounce in between
Yeah,
things.
that one I didn't like. That one was kind of lame.
That one, if it worked great, and if it didn't work, it was
It was
shit.
gone in a
Yeah.
second. Yeah.
And then the D8 of hate was really terrible.
Yeah. I think the bouncing one were the forward one was cool because bosses usually stay in one position
Yes.
for a second, so you could just throw one of those at it, and honestly put 3 of those in your deck, and you could just throw 3 at it, and
Yeah.
they just take a shit ton of damage.
yeah.
One thing I hated about this game, and I guess correct me if I'm wrong, the
You're wrong.
the deck was never so. Anytime you used a card, it instantly went back into the deck.
It
I don't-
almost did seem like
I don't know why it did that. Why didn't they just make it so the deck would eventually run out and you'd reshuffle it?
Yeah, like almost like a Dominion
Yeah,
style or any other
which
like
makes
deck
more
building
sense
games.
because then you know what you're going to draw on your last hand.
Yeah.
Like if you're waiting for a certain card, other than just keep fucking throwing your dice and hoping you get the right card.
Yes.
I was kind of annoyed at that. I'm like, God damn it! I threw this 4 fucking times. I need this one card to do this achievement.
Yeah, exactly. I just need this one fucking thing, and I can't fight these fuckers without it.
Yep. It was just kind of annoying. I don't understand why they did that. Maybe it was easier to do it that way.
And then my least favorite thing to fight was probably this fucking any of the people that ended up having that like red lightning shit on.
Yeah,
them.
I know. That one was the hardest because you basically had to do ranged attacks on
Yeah.
them. Had no choice. It was a little annoying because that was a concept they didn't even introduce until like the 4th city or something.
And then I wish there was a way to get rid of it. Like I know like if you hit it, it would go away for like a little bit.
A second, but you would
Yeah.
also knock back. So by the time you're up, it's up.
Yeah.
So fucking annoying. Like, yeah, if there was like a little machine giving him that and you could destroy the machine or something, like that would make sense.
Yeah.
No, not so
No.
much. But that's all with gameplay, I think.
Yeah,
Anything
pretty
else?
much. I think
I think we covered pretty much everything.
all this side quests and stuff.
Oh yes, side quests are kind of lame. I didn't want to talk about that. They're a little lame. They give you cards. They give you like completionist status. The one cool thing is they're funny. Like,
I was
a
gonna
lot
say
of them
some
are
of them are pretty funny. Like the card game one, or like the dice game one where you're playing in Fort Town with
Yeah.
that made up game.
Yeah. Oh, you won.
Wait, how did you win? Didn't you cheat?
Did you cheat?
No, I didn't.
I don't even know. I don't even know the rules of the game.
It was so like
That one was fun.
That was really funny.
The one where you had to convince the girl in Four Town to
give up her love.
Give up her normal life and keep gambling instead.
Oh, that one too.
That was so funny. Yeah, the give up the love one was funny.
I
too.
love the give up your love one because and that's one of the things too. I love like this game both feels like it's for kids and adults.
Yeah.
Because like the gameplay is very like childlike and stuff, and I feel like most people can get.
Yeah,
to
and you're
this.
playing as like a 12-year-old,
Yeah.
pretty much.
But like, there's a lot of like themes in this game that you're just like, wow, I can't believe they said all these things. Like, damn.
It's confusing what world this game is, and we'll talk about that more with story.
Mhm.
But to me, I'm like, why is this in here? I am so confused. But yeah, that's pretty much everything.
Yeah.
There's some journal
pretty
stuff
much.
you can pick up that kind of tell the story that you're currently living. I
Yeah.
didn't bother doing it because I missed the last two. So I was like, oh well, I guess I'm just going to do another playthrough probably and try to get them all so I can hear what
Pretty
the story
much.
is from that. Maybe it's different from the main story, but it sounded like it was just following suit with it.
Did you have a favorite of the towns?
All the towns pretty much were reminiscent of the same. I think Two Town was actually my favorite.
I would either say Two Town or Forberg.
Yeah, because they were just fun.
Yeah.
3 was really cool because it reminded me of Conkers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it really
kind
did.
of.
It like this whole game kind of reminded me of Conkers, where the
In a
different
way.
elements of each town kind of fit the different elements of what Conkers was doing.
Mhm.
So
Well, and it almost had that reminiscent with what game was it that we was it in Conquer? We had a game recently where we like dove into the Napoleon tabletop.
yeah,
game.
that was Psychonauts.
Psychonauts. Yes, that's what the third game, the third world, reminded me of too.
Yeah.
Because
Similar.
these 3 things are controlling the battlefield, and
Like a
they're,
mix between like the funniness of Conkers and the seriousness of Psychonauts.
Yes.
Like it's just weird. A lot of places or a lot of the games do that. So
Mhm.
it's interesting stuff for sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on.
It's story time. Let's get started.
Story in this game is pretty basic, bitch. I will say that.
Yeah.
They really. Tell me again. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did you just hate the bad guy?
Yeah.
Did you hate how lame they were? Because I hated the queen. I'm like, this is such a boring bad guy.
I was hoping there's a little bit more to it, and like, I don't know. For me, like, especially when she like took over the narrator thing,
That was really funny. I thought that
it
was her best
funny,
moment.
and
Honestly,
it reminded me a lot of Gladys in that moment
Yeah.
from Portal. But in that same thing, it was really annoying how slow some of the things they made you do. They just made you listen to the entire Queen's speech before.
And then
you
sometimes she would
sprint
just
again or what,
and she would repeat what she said too.
Mhm.
Like they had very little narration voices with her, which is
Yeah.
kind of annoying because it was all just like, and then she laid down and died, and you're like,
Yeah.
okay, you just said that like 30 seconds ago. Do you really want me to die that bad, lady? I'm 12. That's really messed up.
And I guess I am just tired of the trope in movies and video games and everything. It's like, I did this all just to protect you. I decided to take over the entire world to protect one person.
Yeah, and that's fine. One thing that I thought about this game: who was the coolest bad guy in this game? By far, the coolest bad guy.
Probably the Rayum.
The what?
Is it Rayum or whatever? Is that who?
Oh, the mayor's second? No, to me, Shadow Man.
Oh, Shadow Man. Yeah.
And I was like, you know what would have been really cool if Shadow Man was either a secret boss somewhere,
Yes.
which he kind of is. It's really fucking
well, and there's
lame.
an achievement for like.
Yeah, beating him. I got him.
Oh, okay.
You just have to make him pity.
Oh.
It was really
okay.
annoying. It was kind of fucking stupid, actually. But it's like, why have this awesome character you make who seems like the quintessential bad guy? He seems like he just wants fucking death all around him.
Yeah.
And then just make him lame as shit.
I thought they were going to do a lot more with him. I thought he was going to show back up later.
Yeah,
Again.
and he did kind of, but like very little.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just wish that they would have made him a secret boss, just kind of like Dark Souls style. Make him, you have to go to a secret area and then you
Yeah.
fight him and you get a cool card or something if you
Yeah.
beat him. Or make him the final boss.
True.
Make him like absorb the queen and take over her dice.
Well, and I almost thought we were going to have to fight the 3 dark beings. And I thought that was going to be the last
Yeah.
final fight. So I thought the once they had the reveal of like the queen and the dark ones, and then like the queen, it was just all for her sister. I was like, oh, the queen's not even gonna be the last fight then.
Yeah,
it's gonna be these dark ones.
And
then,
I didn't think it would be because they didn't really explain what they were the entire game. If there was a story for them, maybe.
They showed them several different times though. They showed them at the beginning. They showed them in a dream sequence, and then they showed them at the end. And I was like, oh, okay, so they've showed this person. Like maybe this is someone more important that we just don't know anything about yet.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I think they're going to be set up for a sequel. That's what it seems like. It seems like the queen's going to get defeated. Mm-hmm. They're going to be set up for a sequel, and you're looking for your way home, and you have no idea where you're going.
Oh, they're going to the Valley of the Dice right now, aren't they?
I think so, but it was hard to tell because they just jumped off a cliff.
Yeah.
They're like, let's hang glide.
Let's parasail with these umbrellas.
These umbrellas are really good for parasailing.
I love that the guy that you stowed away with, Harold, came back
in 5.
Yeah.
I think it was 5, right?
Yeah, I think it was 5.
love the fact that you can lead what's his name to victory.
Oh, Bernie? Or Bernard? Yeah.
Bernard, that was so funny.
Mm-hmm.
I think he gets captured too, doesn't he? Do you see him at the end? I think he do.
I don't know. I got that achievement for getting him to safety. So
I don't remember if he makes it all the way back or not. He gets a dice friend. No, he did. You didn't see him because he gets a dice friend.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. That was the coolest. That was really a cool story.
Yeah.
Like this story had a lot of cool moments. Just the worst part was the queen. I think that was like the lamest part because it's just, you're right. It's so fucking tropey. Let's take this bad guy and let's make the bad guy in charge of everything. And then let's make the bad guy lose a family member, but didn't really lose a family member. Although the family member thing was cool. I love the fucking like, please, even when time stop it all, it hurts.
It still hurts, yeah.
It still hurts.
I loved that part.
I was like, holy shit, that's dark as fuck.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That was brilliant. I loved all the stuff with the sister itself. It was the queen that
she was just bored. She's like, no. I look how small the sister was compared to her, dude.
The reveal being that the ghost was the sister the entire time.
I know, I never suspected that.
I didn't either.
I was like, I thought it was your sister. I'm like,
yes, I did.
It's got to be like your sister's soul reaching out. That's what I thought.
Because like the queen took over your sister.
And then you kind of forget about it too. While I'm fighting my sister, I completely forgot that the ghost was even a thing. Because it's not really like a staple. You don't really need it in the game. I just thought it was so cool that it's actually the fucking queen's sister. So like, fucking what good. The fuck? That threw me for a loop. I was like, okay. I would have never seen that coming because like, we all thought the sister was dead at 1. And 2, like, it didn't seem like the sister would reach out to you for any reason. They don't even fucking know you.
Yeah, exactly.
But it makes sense because she's connected to you because she knows...
Your sister.
Odd's a sister. You're even.
Yeah.
Odd. She knows Odd, kind of. She's in the castle, at least.
Yeah.
You never met her, but... All right, well, let's jump into, I guess, what the story is. So you're in a world called Random.
Yes.
The point of your being here is like everyone gets a dice, but there was a great dice war X amount of years before. No one knows how many. Mm-hmm. It has to be at least within 20 years, I think, because it seems like people remember dice and they don't seem that old.
Because I mean, that one adult dude had the dice, and I mean, that was pretty recent for him. It felt like, so I'm guessing it was probably when he was a kid. So I would say like 10, 20 years.
Yeah, I'm thinking more than 12 because it's got to be before they're born, probably.
True.
That's what I'm thinking at least. It might not be true.
He probably was like in his 30s or something, so.
Yeah, so I'm guessing between,
20 years. So.
12 and 20 years.
Yeah.
That makes the most sense to me. After the dice war, the queen's the only one with the dice. And she says, I'm going to separate all the cities. Although they were already called 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
So I don't know how the hell they separated it before, but it sounds like there was travel between them before.
I think it was just random.
Yeah.
And you could travel if the dice allowed you to travel to those places because they use the dice to make
open doors.
To do every decision.
They made doors that would only open with a dice roll and said, fuck you guys if you don't roll the right dice roll.
Yes.
But it sounds like you could just keep trying until you get the right dice roll.
Probably so.
It's so weird. It's so stupid.
Yeah.
That's a dumb concept.
Yeah, it was very random, but
random. But the queen made it so she rolls your dice for you, and that picks a town you're in, and you stay in that town. You don't get to leave.
Yep.
So 1 being the worst town.
Yep.
It's like the sludge town. 6 being the best town.
Yes. 6 is where all your dreams come true, all your fantasies, everything you've ever wished and dreamed in your life, you get to have. Or that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Every child at 12 has to roll the dice, and if whatever they roll, they get sent there.
Yep.
So, although there was one kid who rolled a 5.
Oh, yeah.
Because the guy's kid rolled a 5. He was in 5.
Yeah.
So, not everyone rolled a 6. So, I get it. Probably like 1 and 4.
Yeah.
But then oneers got unlucky.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like,
Well, she needed people to be able to build her robot
yeah,
army.
maybe she like needed to replace the one she didn't become.
Yeah.
Maybe that was it.
I think she just needed to keep feeding the dark beings a certain amount at a time.
And maybe she got really close and just wanted
And
to
then,
get it
then
done.
she wanted to find a successor for
Yeah.
herself, and that's why she went after a sister.
Which makes no sense because it sounds... They never explicitly said this, but it sounds like she only partnered with them to revive her sister.
See, that's what I was... Because, like,
So maybe she wants the successor to revive the sister?
I don't think that she was actually... Like, they were going to be able to give her the power to revive her. I think it was just... She was just trying to keep her alive.
Maybe that's what... Maybe you're right.
And that's what it seemed like to me anyways.
Yeah. It never explicitly said one way or the
Yeah.
other, so I just figured, like, well, why the fuck would you partner with them unless they're going to revive your sister, I guess?
Yeah.
We can keep her alive in the suspended state
I
of
think that's
bullshit.
just... If anybody else had dice, there was a chance that her sister wouldn't be alive. I don't know.
I still just when her sister was like, I'm in constant pain. Like, it just made you laugh. You're like, oh my God, it sounds like a fucking bad trope.
I mean, but it was
But
like...
it's funny. It's a
crazy.
cool little thing. It is crazy. So yeah, you roll a dice. Your sister rolls a 6. She ends up going to 6 town. You don't like that. You think she's in danger. You get a dream a year later being sent by like a couple things, actually. I don't know if you noticed this in one. When you go down, in the swamp is the frog.
Oh, really?
I replayed it so I can get my last 2 achievements in one because I
Okay.
didn't get the other journal entry and I didn't do the knock on the door.
Okay.
And I'm walking past towards the big dice that's broken where you get your first pips.
Yeah.
And she's in the water. Her head's sticking out of the water. And she just goes
Oh.
right back down in the water.
She did say she's been watching you for a long time.
Yeah, so...
That's really cool,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah. I thought that was cool that I went back and played it because otherwise I would never have noticed it the first time.
Yeah.
I think I probably noticed it and said, oh, hey, look, there's a big frog, and then forgot about it.
I was noticing some stuff because Jen started playing it after I got done
Yeah.
with it. Because she's like, that sounds like... I was like, you're going to love this game,
Yeah.
honestly. Like, yeah.
But yeah, it seems like the frog was leading you. The giant talking head guy with
Visionary.
the eyeball, visionary, was leading you. And the ghost was leading you.
Yes.
So they're all like, let's work together without knowing we're working together.
Holy Trinity.
Yeah. So they work together to lead you out of one so you could save your sister and all the other kids pretty much.
Yeah.
And you go on a misadventure between 1 and 6. And basically you visit every town, get a bunch of cards, get your dice, visit the Valley of the Dice, which was cool.
Yes. Actually, I'm kind of wondering if the Dark Ones were only going to revive the sister if she was able to kill Uma.
Maybe, because she was
the
looking for
only
Uma
one.
really hard.
Yes. And
True.
she destroyed an entire town just to find her because that's where she was hiding.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking that because there were still things that could make more dice, the evil ones weren't going to help her fully.
Maybe. It could be.
There's an interesting
Well,
thought.
clearly she made another dice, or because all the other
Something.
no, there was another dice in the Valley of the Dice. I kind of hope that's right. Bernard, remember the big dice that was stuck in the
Yeah.
ground? I was hoping that would be Bernard's dice. I was like, that's gotta be. It's gotta be, right? There's no
Yeah.
way it's not. It's gotta be his fucking dice. But he's big, so I'm like, how's he gonna fucking travel around with that thing on his back?
Well, maybe they shrink down once
Yeah.
they find their person. Or
Maybe. I was thinking of like, why do they get so fucking big?
something. I don't know.
No other dice you've seen is that big, and yet like
And
there's
that
some
was like
huge
Seymour's
ones.
dice or something.
It could have been. It could have
Yeah.
been Seymour's dice. I thought about that too. I'm like, it could have
Because
been.
he's a bigger individual.
But yeah, you go through every town until you get to 6. This made no sense to me too. Why the fuck did she build a cardboard village?
Yeah, that was weird.
I was like, well, are you trying to give the kids hope by seeing a cardboard village? And
Maybe.
then once they fly past it, they're like, oh no, our hopes are dashed. Like their hopes are already dashed because they missed their parents.
yeah.
I don't understand.
Well-
Well, so you could like take a picture of it and send it like, look where everyone's living, guys. Like, I just
I
didn't
don't-
understand the point.
I don't know.
I just felt like it was like exposition to make it funny.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think that's all it was.
Yeah.
But I was like, man, this really seems like it doesn't serve a purpose here.
We didn't even talk about too. One of the other really great villains that I actually really liked was Nanny. The Nanny.
I didn't like her.
I didn't like love her or anything, but she was like the most like Tim Burton of all the villains.
Yeah.
Like she felt so much like
She was like, guys, if you've ever seen, what's that movie, Spirited Away?
oh yeah.
So she looks just like the old woman who you fight in Spirited Away.
kind of.
Like her and her twin, because she's got a twin sister. She owns your parents. She owns the pigs.
Yeah.
She looks just like her, except she's in a floating fucking machine. that throws missiles at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't like her too much. Again, I thought she was just there for exposition.
Yeah.
I get you need that sometimes. You need someone who's going to go out and do your work. I wish they would have explained her story a little bit more, but I'm guessing she was
Yeah.
her nanny growing up.
Probably. I think
Just
that's
like
exactly
what's her
what it
face was the nanny in Three Town. Just interesting stuff. I don't know. It was weird, but also I'm confused. There's a king of Three Town, and then a king of Six Town, but also the king of everything is the king of Six Town.
Yeah. Well, I think
Then
it was
why
just
the
the
hell
king
is
of
there-
random.
Okay, so the king-
I don't think they necessarily said just Six Town.
Yeah, but then there's a king of just Three Town, which was weird.
Yes.
I don't know. It all got
Well,
weird.
I mean, they all had their own different things because they had the mayor. in
True, they had a
Two-Town,
mayor, and then they had the
and then the high roller in four.
yeah
Fortburg
four,
or whatever.
and then 5 didn't really have anyone. The
It
card
was just the card
people,
makers,
yeah, kind of, but they didn't really do anything.
No,
And then 1 didn't really say, but they probably had something.
they might have.
El
It could
Presidente.
have been that chick that tried to stop you that night.
Lucky?
No, the older lady, that like stopped you right on that.
Oh
first
yeah,
bridge.
yeah. The giant rat person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She could have been like the head of security of one
She could.
or whatever. Yeah.
El Presidente. Or Chancellor. Hey, yeah, the story is, again, pretty basic, bitch. You're trying to rescue your sister. You end up rescuing your sister. You don't even fight the last 3 guys. The queen turns good somehow, fights them. Her sister, who turns out was alive all the time, which we already mentioned. She dies finally,
Yep.
after X amount of years in excruciating pain. The queen kept saying, I need a successor, but she didn't look that old.
Yeah.
But she could be in her 50s, I guess. I have no, it's impossible to tell.
Yeah.
She's a
it's-
fucking giant woman with a mask on.
Yep.
You never see her fucking face.
Yep. She's
So
got
yeah,
a
the
very,
sister could have died like 40 years before this.
definitely could have been.
Yeah, you have literally no the time. I wish there was a timetable.
Yeah.
because I kind of want to know how old these characters are a little
I mean,
bit.
a lot of times you bring up time frames in a lot of these things, and a lot of times we don't have the answers. But this is definitely one of the ones where I actually agree. Like this one almost needed it.
Yeah.
In a lot of aspects.
'Cause
Like,
you're
it
like-
would have been way more like lore story wise. Like a lot more would have made sense if we
Yeah.
knew where these came from.
Yeah, because like it would make sense why none of the children know about dice or think it's a fairy tale because obviously they've never seen it.
Mhm.
People might even think that if they haven't seen one in 20 years, right?
Yeah.
It's just interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. The story was good though. It was a good story, and all in all, it's good. It's just I wish the Shadow Man would have been the last boss.
Yeah.
I really do. I wish he would absorb the Queen's dice and become like a mega boss. That would have been fucking sweet because he was literally, and I know we didn't explain him too much. He's like evil incarnate in this fucking game.
He's like the boogeyman.
He really is. He's
Yeah.
like, but like scarier.
Yeah.
Like he only comes out in the dark. He can absorb you. The inside of his body is probably bigger than it looks on the outside because he absorbs a kid
Mm-hmm.
and then tries to kill the kid by freezing him to death.
Inside of himself.
I know
yeah.
this is like fuck,
Well,
dude.
and-
This guy sounds like a bad guy.
Honestly, like we're talking about that, but we haven't even the Ludwig brothers or whatever.
Oh yeah, they were fucking creepy as
They
shit. I
had like
forgot about
basically
them.
they basically had a bag of holding.
Yeah,
and this bag,
again, bigger on the inside than it looks on the outside.
and it was a infinite universe bag of holding is what they said on
Yeah.
the inside, and everybody dies in it. Like the kids like are already dead, and you don't realize that at first until they climb in the bag with you.
Well, what's weird is you have no idea. This is the coolest part of this game, I think, or one of the coolest parts. And thank you for reminding me. I completely
Yeah.
forgot about this. So you help this kid get his brother back because you gambled him
Mhm.
away. And he's like, I can fit you in my bag and get you back to 1. And so you decide to jump in the bag after you get the brother back. And you're like, at no point during this, anyone says anything bad about these kids. They actually all say, oh yeah, I've heard great things about them.
They say that, or they say like the one's a little sketchy and he gambled away his brother. Like
Yeah.
that's the one bad story you heard about it.
Yeah,
but
and you're
then-
like, whatever, okay.
Yeah.
He's a gambler. Hopefully he doesn't gamble me away. Worst case scenario, you thought you'd be sold to slavery. Instead, they want to eat your fucking flesh.
Yes, it's-
I'm like, Jesus Christ, they put you in the bag and they jump in there and become like skeleton things.
yeah, the bag commands them to kill. and
Oh yeah,
stuff. I
this
was
is
like,
also
oh,
what I wanted to
fuck.
talk about. Again, God, how could we forget about this whole part? And then after you beat them, you meet death.
Yeah.
It's so fucking confusing.
And
Why
he's-
did you meet
And he's
death?
basically Karen at this point because he's on the boat.
Yeah.
Karen.
Is it Karen or Chiron?
Well, Chiron is the bowman.
Oh, you might. Yeah, I think
It's
you're right.
it's Karen
Karen. Yeah.
because it's Karen's coins.
But like it's so funny because he's like this. He's basically like a black guy.
It's
He's
so
like,
funny.
what the fuck you talking about, yo? Just like,
Are you
what?
really serious? You're giving up right now? Why the fuck would you give up right now?
Yeah, it was so-
Without the language, but,
Yeah, but with that added, that's his voice, and you're like, what?
And it comes out of nowhere because he's completely silent for the longest time.
Because she's just monologuing basically and saying like, hey, what should I do? Should I do this? Should I do that? What do you think I should do? Should I do it? Should I not do it? I don't know.
Which I honestly, I loved that. Like,
Yeah.
that was so funny.
It was pretty funny. Death was, but it's a character like, why are you here? Like, could you kill the queen? Why don't you fucking do it? Also, why did you take me on your boat? Am I dead?
Well, and I almost thought we were going to see him possibly once his sister died.
True.
And I was like, that would have been cool.
That would have been interesting. Good throwback.
Yeah.
And then we didn't talk about, sorry, there's another thing in here that I'm forgetting now.
What?
Oh God, I just thought about it. I'm like, we didn't talk about it. Why didn't we talk about it? I'll think. It'll come back to me. I hope.
What do you have? Give me anything.
It'll come back to me. I hope.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of what else do we do in this game?
Well, there's the card makers. There
Card
was
makers.
the high roller.
Sorry, we didn't talk about the narrator. So we did mention that we have a narrator.
Oh yeah, we did.
The narrator is actually a quintessential part of this game, which
Yes.
is cool. There's a lot of fourth wall breaking with the narrator. So the narrator gets captured by the fucking queen, and the queen becomes the narrator.
We talked about that a little bit.
A little bit,
Yeah.
and she basically just says anything to like make you feel like shit, and your character has no idea because she can't hear the narrator.
Yes.
But you can feel like something's wrong,
Yes.
which I thought was
loved
really
that.
cool.
That was
Yeah,
really awesome.
really fucking cool,
She's
right?
like, I don't know right now, but I just feel like I can't accomplish anything, and I just feel so down and depressed.
Yeah, and it would be literally right after she says like, she
Everyone.
laid down, she watched her whole family die, and then she died.
Yep.
It was
Like
so
every-
fucked.
She's sitting there thinking about how everybody in the world hates her and everybody wants her dead,
Yeah.
and she should just give up and die right now.
She picked up her dice and threw it over the edge. Like, it's just so funny.
And I was like, damn. And if it wasn't for Dicey, like, keep motivating her,
Yeah.
I think she probably might have snapped. in
you're
that
right,
situation.
Dicey. Let's keep moving.
Yeah.
And then the best part is you get to free your narrator from her clutches, and you get to meet her narrator, the queen's narrator, which I thought was really fucking funny. I thought it was your narrator at first. I'm like, oh, it's my narrator. And it's like, I'm the queen's narrator. I'm like, what?
Well, and I love how, like, everyone has their own narrator in
Yeah.
this world, and, like, the narrator's like, I don't know what happens if I die or you die.
Yeah. You save him too, and then you can hear him. Your
Mhm.
character can hear him, which I thought was really funny.
I love that moment when you're like, and this is the moment where she comes face to face with the narrator.
Yeah.
Like, right as she walks up to your jail
And then
cell.
she's like, who said that? Like, and he's not like a body or anything. He's just a voice.
Mhm.
So I don't know how you fucking free him, but somehow you free him. It's really, really fucking funny. And then you could talk to him the rest of the time.
Yeah.
And he says it's only temporary. So I assume by the next game, if it comes out, that he won't be able to talk anymore.
Maybe.
But hey, yeah, it was good. It was honestly fun. That was the last thing I wanted to mention.
Yeah.
That was one of the funner parts of the game.
Oh, for sure.
So let's move on.
Worth or nah?
I think obviously it's a nah. I think we
Okay.
pretty much explained the whole fact that
Yes.
nah was what we were going for in this
Totally
game.
just shit. No
It's just
one.
trash developers. Maybe stick with Faye.
Honestly, no. This game is definitely worth 100%. I think.
Yeah,
this
I
game-
think so too. I think play it on Xbox, get some easy achievements.
Yeah, I mean it's on EA Access or Game Pass if
Yeah.
you have it. It's on both.
It's on
So,
Steam. It's on everything basically. You can play it on PlayStation if you want
Mm-hmm.
to. Although it's not as cool because they don't have a free game market really. I think
No.
they've added a little bit. but
Well,
not
they
crazy.
have. So they have like the 3 different tier lists for theirs, and you have to pay
So
different prices
stupid.
to get more access to more games.
See, and with the Game Pass one, you just pay more if you want games on your computer as well.
Yes.
Right? Or if you want the Xbox Live in addition to that without
Yes.
having to pay the yearly cost.
Yeah,
Ridiculous. So fucking ridiculous, PlayStation. You guys
Yeah.
are assholes.
and I think the most expensive one's like
That's why you're
$25, and they don't even have near as much games. Well, and Xbox is getting PlayStation exclusive games on Game Pass now.
Yeah.
Like a lot of PlayStation people are pissed off because like MLB The Show used to be a PlayStation exclusive, and now it's a Game Pass day one
Nice.
game. And on PlayStation right now, it's $70 for that game because all PlayStation 5 games are 70.
Instead of paying $10 a month.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
So
Yeah, PlayStation, you're behind, guys. Sony, got to catch up.
yeah, they've been. Well,
But I
they're
guess
still
they
trying to
haven't-
sabotage the fucking Activision deal.
Are they?
Yeah.
They're trying to get it as cheap as possible.
No, they're the stupid thing is they're trying to get with a bunch of like other like companies and stuff to try to shut down this Activision deal, but then like Xbox is like, okay, but what are you scared of? And they're like, well, you'll have a monopoly on shooters, and they're like, we'll have Call of Duty. That's not a monopoly on shooters. That's one franchise.
There's only one shooter franchise.
And then they're like, but that's the highest selling one by far. And they're like, okay, fine. So here's what we're gonna do. Nintendo, here's a 10-year contract saying that we will allow Call of Duty games to be on Nintendo for the next 10 years.
That way,
And then they also offered that to
Sony, here's a contract that says you can lick my balls.
No, they actually offered the same contract.
I wish they would have sent the lick my balls.
They should have.
That would have been way better.
But they actually like came out and like straight up like, no, Sony denied us. We came up with this plan. They said we would give you access to all these games.
Yep.
We even offered. They've been offering to add Xbox Game Pass on the PlayStation, and Sony keeps denying that. Even.
Yeah, because they get a cut. Microsoft gets a cut of that. That's
I
probably
mean, yeah,
why.
but it would be so worth it.
Yeah,
for them.
I think so too, because they have a more. Their system is more likable, so they've already established that this should be the default.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, all of even the games that were announced for the rest of this year for Game Pass Day 1 exclusives are going to be just phenomenal. Like,
Yeah.
I cannot wait.
Game Pass is killing it.
Yes, it is.
I mean, look at us. We're basically playing Game Pass games because there's just so much fucking options on there.
Yeah, and it's just crazy what keeps getting added, and like from all these different games, and like I mean, even recently they just had GoldenEye was just added on the Game Pass, and I was like, wait, what the fuck? Where did that come from? And
'Cause,
we're getting a remastered of it,
nice.
and it's gonna be on Game Pass as well.
No, and Nintendo re-released GoldenEye. I think that's why. So yeah, that was this week's game. We both think Worth
Yeah.
for sure. I think that's what we're going for. Worth.
100%.
100% worth. Next week's game is
Little Misfortune.
no Pokemon Gold.
Oh yeah, sorry. Then it's Little
Almost.
Misfortune.
Yeah, then it's Little Misfortune.
I don't know why. I've even played Pokemon Gold.
Yeah. So yeah, we're going to another sequel for next week. Pokemon
Yes.
Gold sequel from our first episode, Pokemon Red.
And I'm actually gonna play this one
Yep.
all the way through.
Yep, it's a lot of fun. We're hoping to tell you guys about it, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye. Love you.